So today we're going to talk about how to properly test a ESD work surface, and we'll be doing so by using the Resistance Pro 5-pound electrodes, all called out by TR53 2018 and ANSI S2020 S4.1. So those are the standards that that the industry goes by. TR53 lays out this test method that you'll see me perform today. And so the issue is, is our ESD workstation performing to the standards and to your expectations? So in TR53, the main focus in that standard is RTG, or resistance to ground. So what I have on my workbench is a 5-pound electrode. You'll see me put the positive lead into the 5-pound electrode, and then the negative lead will go directly to ground. So notice I have a ground point on my workbench. So now we're plugged in, we're going resistance to ground RTG with the Resistance Pro. So if you'll notice, we got 1.44 times 10 to the 6th. So the standard calls out the acceptable range is 1 times 10 to the 6th to less than 1 times 10 to the 9th. So that's the approval range. So our RTG on this mat is testing good. So the next step would be to, if this did not test well, let's just say it was out of range and you had a range higher than that 10-9 call out, then what would be the next step would be to check top to top. So in this case, I know that we have a dissipative workstation mat here. So we'll do top to top calls out for 2 5-pound electrodes, approximately 12 inches apart. So once again, we'll do that test. So now we're testing the actual surface resistance of the workstation mat. So 3.06 times 10 to the 6th, our surface resistance, or resistance top to top, which is RTT, is also acceptable. On this particular mat, it's a 2-layer mat, which also has a conductive bottom. So we would want to test that as well. If your spec calls for that, then you just want to verify that that we're following the protocols and the specs. So this should be a conductive range. So once again, we will place the 5-pound electrodes on the bottom of the mat in this case. Conductive range is anything less than 10.4. So we'll perform our test once again, and we are 3.70 times 10.3. So we have a great conductive range on our work surface mat today. And then the final step would be to test the actual snap itself. So the workstation has to have a groundable source to earth ground. In this case, we're using a standard black wire here, and there's a snap and then there's a wire itself. So I'll unsnap the snap, which allows me to have access to our mat snap. These are either push to clinch or screw on, so we just want to test to make sure that we actually have good continuity at the snap as well. So once again, we have a 5-pound electrode, our snap to ground, so we'll test the resistance range of that connection as well. And again, we're 1.51 times 10 to the 6th. So my RTG was good to ground. My resistance to the snap was also well, so we know we have a great connection on our snap. And then beyond that, today we got lucky, and all of our top to top measurements were good as well. So this workstation is completely in spec. But again, if any one of those measurements was outside of that, then we would troubleshoot the mat itself by measuring RTT, and if it were, maybe it needs clean, maybe it's out of age, it's just lost its dissipative range, and so we need to either replace that or troubleshoot it further. But there's not a whole lot more beyond that. So that is how to troubleshoot the workstation mat.